when I started working at the High Tech Institute, in the beginning, that was around 10 years ago, there were regularly people that, if I asked them, so why are you here? What is your motivation? They told me, well, I'm being sent by the company or whatever. I have no idea really what I'm doing here, but probably it's very useful. And of course they were happy when they finished the course, and then they discovered a bit what the result is. But you see nowadays, many more participants of the course already know what they want to change already, and they come up with situations in which they can be more effective. So I think the awareness of leadership, I think that it's important, also in the technical world, I think is growing. So it's not about solving an issue, but you need people to solve that. I think a lot of people are much more aware of that. Maybe because they're younger and already more focused on that, because they have different education, I guess, but also because of different nationalities, right, in every company. So you know, kind of, people sometimes are a bit difficult, but you need them on board to get somewhere. And I think that awareness is much bigger than a couple of years ago. So my name is Claus Neeleman. I'm a psychologist. I studied in Tilburg. I studied labor and organizational psychologist. And I work as a trainer, coach, also as an actor, by the way, but it's more like a side job. I think around 20 years already. So before I became a trainer and a coach and actor, I worked as an assessment psychologist. So I kind of analyze people and try to see if they have the potential to do a certain job. So that was my first job. And later I worked for a different company as a manager, and I think that's the relationship to this course as well. I worked there 7 years as a manager, and I had a team, and the goal of that team was to coach people to get them basically a job. They need to change jobs, and they need some trainings and coaching as well. I was working as a psychologist doing assessments, so analyzing people and see how good they are at their job and analyze their potential. And that was a lot of, I like that job very much because you can look at people, talk with people, doing interviews and analyze behavior. And as a psychologist, that's kind of a fun thing to do. The drawback of that work is that you just analyze the behavior of people, but you don't work with them really, so you don't really help them. And I always miss that in that work. I had the idea I wanted to work more with people and really contribute something to their life, at least their work life. And one time I did talk with a client, and my colleague remarked that I was so good at explaining things to my colleagues and also my clients. And I was like, that was a huge compliment for me, and that made me think about, oh, maybe I should take this next step and to really work with people and to really help them to become more effective. And that was my motivation to look for a different job and become a coach or trainer. Leadership was always for me interesting to do because I had some experience in that. So I did lead a team for around seven years, and I noticed it can be quite difficult, to be honest, to lead your people, and a lot of issues you have to solve. So that was always in the back of the mind that will be an interesting topic. When I started working for the High Tech Institute, I noticed that the high-tech world is so different from other companies. In the sense that obviously they work on very complicated products and services. And these people are tremendously driven. I think that's the first thing I noticed, that they really want to solve issues and problems, and they're really focused on that. So there's a high motivation to do their job. Generally a little bit less focused on the commercial side of things. So they're very much focused on basically their hobby. Sometimes I feel like, oh, that's basically your hobby, to solve things and to work on technical aspects and challenges. And I also noticed that, so that's one notice, and also notice that the force field of people is very complicated. So you have a tremendous amount of stakeholders sometimes. I remember the first time I gave this course, leadership course for technical professionals, there was this one person, he said like, I always asked him to write down the stakeholders in the beginning of the course to map out who's kind of important in this project. And he came up with like 40 stakeholders, says I can write 20 more, how much do we want? And I was a bit astonished by that. Because in most companies, obviously there are stakeholders, but not that many. So it is technical, very complicated to work in a high-tech field. But also you have to deal with a lot of people. And each one of them may contribute something essential. Maybe you don't know, you don't really understand what they're doing, but you know it's essential in that machine that you're building. I think that is a tremendous difference with other companies. One of the big things in a technical field is people are so dependent on each other. So you work maybe with 100 people to build something together. And obviously and it's very challenging at times because you're building something new. So a lot of problems arise daily. And you have to solve that together. So there should be a strong sense of you're together in the boat. You have to work together effectively. And that's enormously challenging, I think, to do. You have to work with many people. And at the same time, what you're working on is extremely complex. So that is so different from other companies. And that also means that you need to have very good communication skills to be effective in that world. A successful training for me is when we have a lot of fun, I think. Personally, I think that really motivates me, that we can laugh. And by the way, that's also very important for a training. So it's not only that I enjoy that very much, because I like to connect to people. And I enjoy it very much that people connect with each other. Although they have different backgrounds, maybe they're working in different companies. But it's a joy to see that already on the first day that people kind of recognize learning goals in other people as well. And they say, well, you got the same thing that I have. So there's a strong bonding already on the first day, and I love to see that. And the humor, that people can laugh about their own mistakes, or can laugh about the exercises that we're doing, or laugh about situations that they share with each other, that is also enjoyable because we're kind of on the same page. I mean, that creates kind of, yeah, we're doing this together, these couple of days that we're working together. And also, it does help the training as well, because people are more open and honest towards each other. And are willing to share more. So that's also beneficial to each other and give each other more easy feedback that way as well. So that for me, if I can establish that during the course, that people feel at home basically in the course and they are not afraid to put their issues on the table, and that makes me kind of happy, I would say. I'm happy at the end of the course when people are happy, to be honest. So if they feel I get something out of this course and that really contributes to my communication or behavior, then I've done my job. So that makes me very happy. And at the end of the course, usually you have like an evaluation. And if you see there's still a lot of energy, and people mention like, oh, this is a very nice group of people and I felt at home here, or I felt safe here. And I think I learned so much during this course. If I can achieve that, then, you know, I go home and I'm in my car and I still have a lot of energy and a big smile on my face. I'm looking forward to meeting you in one of our next training editions.